Aries, have you ever felt a strange call resounding in your heart, as if the entire sky was preparing to turn a new page? A house is waiting for you to leave behind, a farewell that makes your heart heavy, and then suddenly, love knocks on the door, right at the moment when you thought every door had already closed. From here, I will take you deep in the astrological map of Aries to decode 3 great events: moving house, a funeral, and love. Why they all arrive at once, and what spiritual meaning they hold for your journey. Comment: I am ready to embrace my great destiny. That is not just a sentence, but an affirmation that you are connecting with the sacred flow of the universe. And if you feel these words are important to the soul of Aries, hit subscribe so you won't miss any message destined for you. So then, why is the very first sign the universe sends to Aries moving house? Is this just coincidence in life? Or is it a turning point already written into your astrological chart? Right now, we will step into that journey together to understand why this shift is not just about changing a place to live, but about transforming the very soul of Aries. If you feel this is important for you, subscribe to continue walking this spiritual path with me. There is a truth few will tell you, Aries. The great changes in your life rarely come with noise. They come quietly, in the seemingly ordinary steps, like packing your belongings, folding away memories, and leaving a familiar home. This is not just a story of bricks, tiles, walls, and roof. It is the story of a soul preparing to cross into a new chapter, whether you realize it or not. When Mars, the ruling planet of Aries, moves into an aspect with Saturn, the universe sends a clear signal. It is time to change the foundations, the very base, the home, both physical and spiritual. In astrology, Mars is the energy of action, the unstoppable drive. Saturn is limits, structure, responsibility. When these two meet, conflict arises, and the only way forward is movement. Perhaps you are forced to change homes because of circumstances. Perhaps you choose to find a new house yourself. But on the astrological plane, this is not simply relocation. It is purification. It is a beginning, carefully designed to free the Aries soul from stagnation. I still remember the first time in my life I had to leave an old house. Not because I wanted to, but because circumstances forced me. I once thought, why must I go? Why can't I hold on to what I know? But then I realized that house had sheltered me, nurtured me, but it had also confined me in habits already expired. Only when I stepped out of that door did I finally see the light of another sky. For Aries, moving house is not just an event. It is a test of courage. The courage to let go. The courage to say goodbye to walls that once held your laughter and your tears. The courage to not cling, but to trust that ahead of you always lies a wider space, waiting. In every culture, a house is not just shelter. It is a field of energy. Every wall, every object, every corner holds your energy, both good and bad. A room where you cried for many nights, where you failed, where you feared, that energy still lingers there, hanging in the air. So when the universe urges you to leave, it is not cruelty, but compassion. It gives you the chance to step away from the weight of old memories, to let your soul breathe in a new atmosphere. That too is a profound human lesson. Sometimes, to change your life, you do not need to change everything. You only need to change the space around you, and the energy within you will be reset. I know, when leaving an old house, the Aries heart can ache. Because though you are a pioneer, strong and fierce, you're also deeply emotional. The old house holds not just objects, but memories, where parents once smiled, where you once fell and rose again, where you once loved and once broke apart. The old house is like an unwritten diary, and when it closes, you feel as if you are losing a part of yourself. But remember, that old diary closes so that you can write a new one, and in that new book, the pages will be brighter, because you are wiser now, deeper now. The old house held many memories, but Aries was born to keep moving forward, not to let the past hold them prisoner. Have you ever had to leave a place you cherished, only to realize that leaving opened the door to a more beautiful journey? If you have, share that story in the comments. Your story may be the light guiding another Aries, someone who is lost, not knowing if they should take that step. And if you feel these words touching you, don't forget to subscribe, because this is only the first chapter. Your journey still holds many secrets I will help you uncover. In the language of spirit, Moving house often also means moving karma. When you leave, you do not only carry your physical belongings, you carry the lessons you have completed. You leave behind the debts already paid, the wounds already partly healed, the relationships whose purpose is fulfilled. The universe uses the event of moving house to signal this. A karmic cycle has closed, and a new one is ready to open. It is never easy, for the new always carries strangeness and uncertainty. But Aries, you were born to explore. If anyone has the courage to step into the new house of destiny, it is you. Imagine standing before two doors. One old, worn, familiar, safe, but it traps you in shadow. The other, radiant, filled with light, but unknown, never crossed before. Which will you choose? Aries, you already know the answer. You will choose the light. Because in your heart, there is always a voice whispering, you were not born to stand still. You were born to move forward. If these words are stirring something within you, leave a comment. I am ready to step into the new house of my soul. That comment is not just words, but a declaration, an affirmation that you are ready for rebirth. Do not forget to subscribe, to continue walking with me through the journeys ahead. Because this change is only the beginning. But Aries, this journey is not only light. For when a new door opens, another will always close. And sometimes the closing takes the shape of pain, of a loss no one wishes to face. Why does the universe place a funeral right after the event of moving house? Is it punishment, or is it a sign of compassion? Stay with me, because this journey still holds a secret that has not yet been revealed. When a new door opens, another also closes. And sometimes that closing takes the form of grief, of loss, even a funeral in your life. Why does the universe arrange for Aries to face the darkness right after finding the light? Is it punishment, or is it the hidden gift that carries the power of rebirth? Do not leave, because right after this, we will step into the place where darkness and light meet, where Aries learns how to turn sorrow into wings for the soul. There are moments in life we wish we never had to face. Loss, separation, the funeral of a loved one, or of something deeply tied to us. But Aries, the universe never places you on this path without meaning. A funeral is not only to mark death. In the language of astrology, especially the 8th house, the house that represents endings, death, and rebirth, a funeral is the symbol of endings that must come, so that a beginning can follow. In the astrological chart, the 8th house does not only speak of physical death. It speaks of legacy, of transfer, of things taken away to be given to a new generation, a new version of yourself. For Aries, this energy often arrives suddenly, powerfully, like a flame that bursts up and burns away everything old. You may feel robbed of what is most precious. You may ache because you did not have time to say goodbye. And in that very moment, you may think the world has abandoned you. But in truth, that is when the universe is whispering, you are ready to step into a new beginning. In the laws of astrology, it is the cycle of life itself. Death is always the condition for new life to emerge. Without closure, there can never be an opening. And for Aries, the sign of beginnings, you are required to learn this lesson deeper than anyone else. To begin, you must accept the end. When I was young, I thought funerals were only for human death. But the further I walked on the spiritual path, the more I saw. Funerals have many forms. It can be the day you end a relationship you thought was forever. The moment you leave a job that consumed your youth, the time you release an old belief that once held you up, but now no longer fits. Funerals do not only take place in the literal sense, they take place in the heart, in the mind, in the soul. And each time you die in that way, you are forced to be reborn. I once had such a funeral. It was when a dear friend left my life without explanation. For years, I carried the pain, believing it was an irreparable loss. But time and reflection showed me that departure left a necessary space so that I could learn to find strength in solitude. And I believe, Aries, that each funeral you experience is a sacred door, teaching you to see more clearly your true strength. The truth is, no loss comes without leaving a mark. When we lose, we learn to cherish what remains. When we weep for someone gone, we learn to love more deeply those who are still here. Funerals teach us gratitude. Gratitude for what once was. Gratitude for love given and love received. Gratitude for having had a house worth leaving, a person worth bidding farewell, a memory worth grieving. And from that gratitude we grow. we realize that loss is not a period, but a comma, so we can continue writing a story more profound, more meaningful. There is a saying I once heard, and it has stayed with me ever since. God takes something away, not to leave you empty, but to help you find your true strength. If today you are hearing these words in pain, please trust. God has not abandoned you. He is clearing the path so that new light can enter your life. Aries is the flame of the pioneer. You were not born to collapse before loss, but to turn it into fuel for the road ahead. Every tear that falls can become a seed of new faith, of new strength. If you have ever walked through a funeral in your life, whether it was the loss of a person or the ending of a season, and yet you are still standing, write in the comments, "I turn sorrow into strength." Those words are not only affirmation, but prayer, a connection with the universe. And when you write them, you may also inspire another Aries, someone sitting in darkness, needing a single ray of light to move on. And if these words hold meaning for you, subscribe to this channel, because this journey does not end here. There are still sacred mysteries waiting to be revealed. In astrology, a funeral is also tied to inheritance, to memory, to debts of spirit. For Aries, this carries a clear message. You do not live only for yourself. You are continuing a legacy of your family, of your ancestors, of the souls who came before you. When a funeral takes place, it is the moment a part of the past is laid down so that you can carry the next part of the torch. You may not choose it, but you are chosen. And in being chosen, you learn to live with greater responsibility, with deeper humanity, with truer maturity. Imagine yourself walking through a pitch-black room where you see nothing but pain. But if you keep moving forward, there will come a moment when you see a crack of light at the far end. And when you step out of that darkness, you realize you are no longer the same person. A funeral is like that dark room. Painful, stifling, but also the place where you learn to see the light through the eyes of faith. If these words are touching your heart, leave a comment or share this video with someone you know who is also walking through loss. You never know. One small gesture from you today could become the medicine that heals someone tomorrow. And remember to subscribe so that the healing journey of Aries is not only yours alone, but belongs to an entire community. Aries, when darkness passes, there is always something waiting ahead. And strangely, the universe often arranges that after a great loss, your heart is awakened by a gentle sound, the knocking of love. Why does love appear right after a funeral? Is it the universe trying to compensate you? Or is it the way he prepares your soul to be ready for a deeper love? Do not leave, for right after this, we will touch the sweetest secret of this journey. When love knocks on Aries' door. There is a moment in life you cannot plan for. It comes without warning, without reason, without needing you to be ready. That is when love gently knocks. And Aries, you are entering an astrological cycle where this possibility becomes clearer than ever before. In astrology, Venus is the planet of love, of beauty, of attraction, of what makes the heart tremble. When Venus passes through your 7th house, the house of marriage, of partners, of deep relationships, it is like a bell ringing from heaven. Love is preparing to enter your life. The remarkable thing is, this energy does not always announce an entirely new romance. Sometimes it brings revival. A relationship once gone cold, a connection once broken, rekindled with a different fire. Love in Aries' 7th house is not just having someone by your side. It is reflection. It is a mirror. The person who enters now will be like a soul mirror. They come to show you who you are, how you have grown through everything you have endured. I have met many Aries in my life. And one thing I have seen clearly, they do not love in shallow ways. On the outside, Aries can look strong, quick, always conquering. But when it comes to love, their hearts are pure and profoundly sincere. An Aries once told me, "I used to think love was brief passions, but only after loss did I realize, true love is when someone stays beside you even when you have nothing left." I believe this is true. The more trials Aries walks through, the more they understand that love is not a magic trick to erase pain, but a strength that helps them live on bravely. Love can come to anyone, but true love only comes to hearts that have learned patience. And for Aries, so often impatient, impulsive, this is a hard but precious lesson. When you are young, you want to love immediately. You want answers now. You want certainty now. But the deepest loves usually arrive slowly. They come when your heart has learned to wait, to listen, to accept that all beautiful things need time to bloom. And perhaps it is loss that has taught Aries patience. It is the tears shed at funerals, the empty rooms left after moving houses, that have trained your heart to be calm enough to see. Love does not come to cover over pain. It comes to heal. You may think your chances are over. You may have whispered in the long nights, "Love will never knock on my door again." But just as you sit quietly in the dark, your eyes still wet with tears, suddenly there is a soft knock as if sent down from heaven. That is when love arrives, gentle, unexpected, and strong enough to heal. I remember a story, an Aries woman who lost her husband at 40. She grieved so deeply she did not believe she could ever love again. But 10 years later, at 50, she met another man, a widower. They met at a memorial service, two broken hearts touched, and from their shared sorrow, a new love was born. Gentle, steady, deeper than anything she had ever known. That is the proof. True love does not come when we are strong. It comes when we are brave enough to admit our weakness. If you believe love is still searching for you, write in the comments, "I open my heart to receive true love." That comment is not just words. It is a declaration. It is the way you open the door for love to step in. And it is also the way you tell the universe, "I am ready." And if what you are hearing now feels meaningful, subscribe so that the next messages arrive for you right at the time you need them. In astrology, love is not only a personal matter. It is healing. When Venus touches your 7th house, it does not only bring a person, but also a lesson. You are worthy of love. This is especially important for Aries, always forcing themselves to be the warrior, always trying to appear strong. But love, when it arrives now, does not love you because you are strong. It loves you because you are tender. It does not come to add more burdens. It comes to teach you to allow yourself to be held, to lean, to be comforted. And that is the true power of love. It turns weakness into sacred strength. Picture this. You are sitting alone in a quiet room, your heart hollow after all the storms you have faced. Then suddenly, a knock at the door. A small sound, yet it makes your heart tremble. That is how love comes, gentle, without noise. It arrives as a promise from the universe. You have endured enough sorrow. Now you deserve to be loved. If your heart is stirring at these words, share this video with someone you know who also needs faith and love. Because you never know. You may be the bridge that helps someone find healing. And remember to subscribe so that messages of love, of Aries' spiritual journey, arrive right when you need them. Aries, love has knocked. But the journey does not end there. Because if love stays only at romance, it is not enough. It also calls you into a deeper dimension. Responsibility, meaning, and the strength of community. What happens when you not only welcome love for yourself, but also become the flame that lights the way for others? Stay with me, for what comes next will open a new horizon, where Aries is not only loved, but becomes an inspiration for the world. There is a truth no one can deny. Whenever the world needs someone to go first, someone to light the first torch in the dark, the universe calls the name of Aries. You were not born to follow. You were not born to stand still. From the very first moment cosmic light touched your soul, Aries, you were destined to be the pioneering flame. The one who clears the path, the one who burns away darkness with the first step. In astrology, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac wheel. You are spring itself, the fresh breath, the wind that scatters the petals blooming after the long winter. Your ruling planet Mars is not only the symbol of action and strength, but also the fire of the warrior that refuses to step back. When the world is uncertain, you move forward. When others hesitate, you open the way. And that is not coincidence, but the astrological mission etched into the Aries soul from the day you were born. I have seen Aries walk through adversity. Once an Aries told me, "People call me reckless. They call me foolish for trying what no one dared. But if not me, then who?" That sentence has stayed with me because it reveals a truth. Aries does not seek safety. You seek life itself. And for you, living means daring to go, daring to try, daring to begin. I believe Aries is the symbol of the flame that opens the way. Even through loss, even through ruins, you keep moving forward, your eyes ablaze, your head held high. You live not only for yourself, you live to show the world. No darkness can ever extinguish the light. Look through history. Every revolution, every change began with one person daring to rise first. And society has always needed such people. Not everyone has the courage to endure criticism, loneliness, or doubt. But Aries does. You are the one who dares step out of the safe zone to test a new way. And from your step, thousands, tens of thousands find a path to follow. This world does not only need caretakers, it also needs pioneers. It does not only need the safe ones, it needs the bold ones. And Aries, you are that human beacon. Imagine the world as a dense forest, the night covering all. Everyone stands still, afraid to move, uncertain of the path. But then, a figure steps forward. In your hand, you lift a blazing torch. That light scatters the dark. That light gives others faith that they can walk. And that light is you, Aries. When the world is sunk in darkness, Aries will be the first to raise a torch. You may feel tired, you may think you have no more strength, but the moment you rise once again, the flame bursts forth, guiding a whole generation. If you feel that flame burning in your heart, write this in the comments. I was born to lead. That comment is not only words, it is a soul's affirmation. It is your reminder that you were born to pioneer, to shine light, not only for yourself, but for your community. And if these words are striking your heart, subscribe, because the journey of this flame is still long, and I will walk with you on it. But I will not paint everything in rose colors, because being the first to lead means you will bear more wounds than others. People may laugh at you. They may turn away when you fail. They may criticize when you dare to be different. But Aries, you cannot live otherwise, because Mars's energy flows in your blood. You were born to act, to pioneer. And it is that very cost that makes your light precious. Because you do not only shine when things are easy, you shine even in adversity. I remember a story, a young Aries man who started 3 businesses and failed each time. Everyone told him to quit, to take a stable job, but he smiled and said, I would rather fall once more than live a life where I never dared to try. In the 4th year, he succeeded. And what he remembered most was not the glory, but the lesson. Failure did not kill me. It only taught me how to rise stronger. That is the spirit of Aries. Head held high, even when the steps still tremble, even when the wounds still ache. If this story touches you, share this video with an Aries friend you know, because sometimes a single reminder is enough to help them remember they are not alone on the path of leadership. And press subscribe so we may keep this flame alive together. Aries, your flame is not only for you, it is for those you love, for society, for the community. And the greatest question for you is this: what happens when you turn that flame into a strength bright enough to illuminate the world? Stay with me, because what comes next will reveal the human depth of this journey. When Aries' energy is not only about living, but about helping an entire community find hope. There is a paradox that Aries often faces. Why do loss and love so often arrive together? Why is it that after great sorrow, your heart has the power to feel love more deeply? And why is it that only when the heart is torn by separation, you truly understand the value of love? In astrology, this is no coincidence. It is the sacred cycle the universe has written: loss, rebirth, and love. 3 points forming a circle so that your soul may grow and discover the true meaning of life. When we look into Aries' astrological chart, we see a clear cycle. Periods of loss. The 8th house often flow into opportunities for rebirth. The 1st house, your very self, which then opens the way to love. The 7th house, relationships. It is like a breath. You inhale beginnings, you exhale, letting go, and then you inhale again, new life. The universe breathes this way, and Aries, pioneering by nature, feels this rhythm more strongly than anyone. This is why love comes after loss. Not by chance. It comes because your heart has been cleansed, has learned compassion, has softened enough to love again. I once lived through a great loss. There were days I sat alone in a dark room, believing my life would forever be wrapped in night. But then one day, I realized it was that very darkness that made the light of a single candle so unbearably radiant. No light ever feels beautiful enough to move us to tears unless it has first appeared in the dark. No love ever shakes us to the core unless it arrives after the heart has been broken. And that is the lesson I see so clearly in Aries. You cannot avoid loss, but you can turn loss into the very thing that makes your light blaze brighter. Love teaches us to value. But loss teaches us to love more deeply. Only after losing a loved one do you know how priceless every embrace is. Only after a relationship shatters do you know the worth of a hand that still holds yours. Society often rushes, treating love as a game. But the lesson of loss reminds us, love is not for wasting. It is for keeping, not for possessing, but for honoring. Not for using, but for offering. And Aries, you with a heart that has burned many times and broken many times, understand better than anyone that only through loss do we learn to truly hold on. Every wound in Aries' heart can become the path through which the light of God enters. When your heart is whole, you may think you are strong, needing no one. But when the heart cracks, when its pieces fall, that is the moment light seeps in. And that light does not come from this world. It comes from the sacred realm, where God and the universe meet you in your vulnerability. So do not be ashamed of tears. Do not think that wounds are weakness. It is the wounds themselves that are the doorway for light to enter, to remind you that you are never alone. If you feel these words are true for you, if you have endured loss and found love deeper after, share this video. Because perhaps your action today is the medicine someone else is waiting for. And do not forget, subscribe so that you may continue on this spiritual journey. For Aries, story still holds many sacred truths ahead. There is a paradox only those who have wept can understand. Loss and love do not oppose each other. They walk together, like day and night side by side, like death making life precious, like darkness making light more radiant. Aries, it is loss that teaches you gratitude, and it is love that teaches you hope. Together they shape you into a soul that is deeper, more luminous. When a door closes in loss, another opens for love. When someone leaves, the heart learns to treasure those who remain. When we weep for what is gone, we also open ourselves to receive healing. Aries, this is no cruel trick. It is a sacred law. Loss and love do not destroy each other. They feed each other. One teaches you gratitude, the other teaches you hope, and together they make you wiser, more compassionate, more human. Picture your heart as a clay vessel broken. You could try to glue it back, but the cracks remain. Yet there is an art in Japan called kintsugi, where they mend broken pottery with gold. And the result is this: the vessel, once broken, becomes more beautiful, more unique, more precious than before. Aries' heart is the same. After it has shattered, after it has known loss, it does not return to what it once was. It becomes more beautiful, because every crack is a golden vein, a place where God's light enters, a place where new love is poured in. If this image touches you, leave a comment. I turn my wounds into light. That comment is not only for you, but also a gift for someone who may read it, because perhaps your words will help them realize that they too can rise again from the ashes. And share this video so that our community may grow stronger in light and in love. Aries, you have walked through the move, you have walked through the funeral, you have heard love knocking at your door, and you have learned the deepest lesson of all. Loss and love do not contradict each other. They are two halves of the same circle. But a greater question waits for you. What will you do with that light? When you have endured pain, when you have been healed by love, are you ready to turn it all into strength, to become a source of inspiration for the entire community? Aries, if you have stayed with me until now, perhaps you have realized the three great milestones of your life: moving homes, the funeral, and love, are not separate. They are three notes in a sacred symphony the universe has composed for you alone. Every step has meaning. Moving teaches you to release the old, to step into new space. The funeral teaches you the weight of loss, so your heart may treasure more deeply and grow wiser. And love comes as a miracle, to heal, to lift you, to remind you that you were never alone. All of these join together to paint a complete picture. A new chapter is opening in your life. A chapter written in light, in strength, in faith. You are not just the one who endures trials. You are not only the one who walks through sorrow. You are not only the survivor of hardship. You are the warrior who rises from the ruins, carrying wounds, but also carrying light. And that light, through love, does not only guide your own steps. It shines outward for those searching in the dark, for those watching you silently from afar. And that light is not only for you. It radiates to guide those who are still waiting to find their way. If you believe that a new door is opening, leave a comment beneath this video. I am ready to step into the new chapter of my life. That is not only a phrase, it is a vow of the soul, a declaration to yourself, to God, and to the universe that you are ready to live a brighter life. And do not forget, press like, share this video, so that the light of Aries may spread to the community, because perhaps someone else is waiting for this flame to find their own hope. The journey does not end here. This is only the first door. For ahead, the universe still holds for you another sacred talent, a gift waiting to be unveiled. Stay with me, for what comes next may completely transform the way you see yourself and the way you live the rest of your life.